At 18, I left my parents' house with 2 bags, a part-time job, and the quiet understanding that nobody there was going to stop me. My brother was 19. He had always been the important one. When he needed money, there was money. When he failed a class, there was an explanation. When he broke something, there was someone else to blame. When I needed anything, I learned not to ask. 12 years passed. I built a life that had nothing to do with being anyone's second choice. Then, one Tuesday night at exactly 9, headlights swept across my living room wall. I looked through the window, my parents' car. My father got out first. He walked to my front door and pounded on it twice. Open up. I didn't move. Another knock. It's time to come home and do your duty. For a moment, I was 18 again, standing in that old hallway waiting for someone to notice I was leaving. Then I heard footsteps behind me. The lock turned. The door opened. A woman stood there. She was in her 60s, wearing an old cardigan and holding a folder against her chest. My parents had never seen her before. My mother stared at her. The woman's expression changed, not surprise, recognition. She looked directly at my mother and said, quietly, "Evelyn?" My mother went completely still. Nobody had called her that in 30 years. My father stepped forward. "You have the wrong person." The woman shook her head. "No, I don't." I looked at my mother. For the first time in my life, she wasn't looking at me as though I were an inconvenience. She was looking at the woman as though she had opened a door that my mother had spent decades trying to keep locked. The woman glanced at me. "I suppose you deserve to know why they came." My father raised his voice. "This is a family matter." I almost laughed. Family, that word had been used for years whenever they needed something from me. The woman opened the folder. 30 years ago, she said, your mother was using the name Evelyn because she was living somewhere else under another identity. My mother whispered, "Stop." The woman didn't. There was an accident. Your father was involved. Someone else took the blame. My father suddenly looked old, not guilty, just tired. The woman explained that she had been there that night. She had kept copies of documents because she had never believed the story my parents told afterward. The brother they worshipped had not been the center of the secret. I had, or rather, the circumstances surrounding my birth had. My parents had spent years protecting a version of the family that depended on nobody asking questions, and when my brother came along, they built their lives around him. He was easier, cleaner. A child who didn't remind them of what they had buried. I listened without interrupting. Then my father said the thing that finally made everything clear. "We need you to help your brother. Of course, even now. Not, are you all right? Not, we were wrong. Not even, will you forgive us? Just another duty." I looked at my mother. She was crying silently. I had imagined that moment many times over the years. I had imagined shouting. I had imagined telling them everything they had done to me. Instead, I felt strangely empty. Understanding them did not erase what they had done. It only gave the pain a shape. I looked at the woman. "Why are you telling me this?" She closed the folder. "Because I kept silent for 30 years. I told myself silence protected people." She looked at my mother. "It didn't." My father stepped toward the doorway. "We're not discussing this here." I finally spoke. "You're right." He looked at me. "This isn't your house anymore." Neither of them answered. I stepped back. "You came here because you needed something from me. You didn't come to make things right." My father opened his mouth. Nothing came out. I closed the door. No shouting, no victory, just the soft click of the lock. I stood there for a long time. The woman remained in the hallway. Eventually, she said, "You don't have to forgive them." "I know. You don't have to hate them either." I looked through the glass. My parents were still sitting in their car. For once, they were the ones waiting. I watched their headlights disappear at the end of the street. The secret hadn't fixed my childhood. It hadn't made my parents innocent. And it hadn't made me responsible for repairing what they had broken. But after 17 years of being told that my place was somewhere behind everyone else, I finally understood something simple. Leaving had never been the cruelest thing I could do to my family. It had been the first honest thing I had ever done for myself.